Hey, hi Abhishek, how are you?
Hi Brijesh, I am doing good. Thank you. What about you?
I'm good, man. Okay, so can you brief me about yourself?
Yeah, Brijesh. So I do have total 4+ years of experience, and I was part of manual testing for 7 to 8 months in initial days, and after that I moved in automation. So automation using Java and Selenium only. So
Okay.
here I have used TestNG and Cucumber framework for TDD and BDD approach. And in my recent project, we were following page object model where we have segregated our test case logic with page object so that if there is any changes in any web element, so we can we just need to change our page objects, not our test logic. And for build management we are using Maven, and for version controlling we are using Git, and for scheduling our job we are using Jenkins. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so you are telling you have worked in Cucumber. So can you tell me, like, there are some files in Cucumber. Can you explain about those files?
So mainly, there are multiple files. We can create multiple files, but mainly we do have 3 files, which is first one is feature file, second step definition file, and third test runner file.
Okay.
So in feature file we used to write all the features related to our application, and in step definition file we used to write mapping code for those features, and in test runner test runner file we used to provide mapping for our feature file and test step definition file and all other components.
Okay. So Abhishek, can you tell me about that feature file, like how you are writing that file or someone else is writing for you?
So basically we used to get it from BA, and both developer and tester used to work on same feature file, but if there is any changes, so we used to make those changes.
Okay. So which things we have used in feature file? Like we have some keywords there.
Yeah, so basically we have feature, scenario outline, given, when, then, but, and example keyword. Yeah, this things.
So what do you mean by given, when, then, and end?
So given is basically used for preconditions, like if we have something already given. When is like some operation, the operation which we want to perform, and then is the outcome of that operation, like our output. And is used for conjunction. If we are adding 2 conditions, or if we are adding 2 operations, or if we are adding 2 outcomes, so at that time we can use AND operation.
Okay. So what is the difference between scenario and scenario outline?
Basically scenario is getting used, but if we want some data driven testing, like if we want to test one particular scenario with multiple set of data, that time we can use scenario outline, and with scenario outline we must have to use example keyword, and after example keyword we used to give those data which we want to, for which we want to perform our test case multiple times.
Okay, so how we will parameterize things in scenario outline? Like which syntax exactly?
So we can use open close bracket, like we can say diamond bracket for that particular variable. So it will get data from that examples.
Okay. So can you tell me about the step definition file? What is that?
So as I mentioned earlier, step definition file is basically the mapping code of all the feature file. Like if we have written some features in our feature file, scenario, given, when user is on registration page, then user entered all the data, then user should registered himself. So in step definition file we should write mapping code for each of the line which we have mentioned in our feature file.
Okay. And what about the runner? How we will do that?
Runner is basically used to map our step definition and feature file, like where in in test runner file we used to write where our feature is exactly, and with glue attribute we can provide what is the location of our step definition file. So by doing this, like we can map our step definition file and feature file, and we do have several more keywords in runner file, so we can use those things like pretty, dry run, and tags and all those things.
So can you tell me how you can rerun the failed scenario in Cucumber?
So in feature file we can use a rerun flag, like a rerun attribute, and after
In runner file.
in run test runner file we can write rerun attribute, and after that we can write like at first after rerun we can write one file location. So when we run our application, when we run our complete application, so that time it will store all the failed test cases in that file which we have given after rerun command.
Okay.
So in the second time we can create one another runner file, and in that case, like after feature we can write this file's name. So when we'll try to rerun that another feature, another runner file which we have created just now, so it will run only the failed features.
Okay. So like, are you aware of tag keyword in like tags in Cucumber?
Yeah, I am aware of it.
Okay, so can you tell like how we can create a tag and how we can, like, suppose I'm having 3 scenarios and I want to run only second one and I want to ignore first and third, and how you can run the second scenario?
So like basically in our feature file when we are writing scenarios, so above scenario we can write @ and tag name. So like if we have 3 scenarios, so I'm naming as @A, @B, @C consecutively for these 3 scenarios, and in my runner file we can use tag keyword, and after tags keyword I can write @B, so it will only run that B part. And if you want to exclude something, like if you want to exclude C scenario, so we can write @C, so it will exclude that C scenario.
Okay. So are you aware of background keyword?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
So can you tell me what is that and how we can use?
So basically, like background keyword is used like when we have some common given part, like background is basically used for given part only. So if we have preconditions which we want to check before each scenarios, so while like it will be long thing if we are writing those line in all the scenarios, right? So we can exclude writing that particular part in each scenario, and we can write that particular given part in our background keyword. So this background keyword is associated with all the scenarios, so after running each scenarios it will run the part which is mentioned in that background keyword.
So like you have used dry run in your Cucumber?
Yeah, I have used.
So what is the use of that dry run?
So basically dry run is not running our whole application. It just check whether we have all the mapping of our feature file in step definition file.
Okay. So yeah. So we will move to Selenium or Java. So can you tell me what is overloading and overriding?
Sure. So overloading and overriding both comes from polymorphism itself, which means one name different form. So in case of overloading, so like we do have same function name, but we do have different signature. Like if we have one method named display, so one time I could have public void display int a int b, and in second function we can have public void display int a int b int c, or like difference is of any kind, like number of argument, return type, or anything. This is for overloading. And
like if we have different return type, it will work overloading?
Yeah, different return type of arguments.
So Abhishek, like you told, like different same return type and different parameter it will work. What about like if we are having different return type and same parameter? So overloading is like it will work?
Like parameter name and count is same, but we have different return type of that particular method, right? No, in that case it won't work.
Okay.
So now,
Tell me.
okay, so we'll continue with overriding now. So overriding is something like we have same name, same argument list, like same name and same signature, but it is in two different classes, and each those two classes are inherited from each other. Like they should have inheritance property, like one parent class and one child class, and one method present in parent class is public void display, and same method is present in child class as well, public void display. So in that case we can say like it is overridden function. So basically like we do have some limitation with overriding, like child class access specifier should be greater than or equals to parent class access specifier, then only it will work, otherwise it will throw some like it will show some errors.
So tell me where you have used overloading and overriding in your Selenium project.
So like so for overloading we have used, like we can say in assertions we have used overload, because in assertion like we used to write assert true, and inside bracket we can write actual comma expected value, and second time we can write assert true, and inside bracket actual comma expected comma message. So in this case like it is getting overloaded. And overriding we can say get and navigate to is is a method overriding part. And like we can also say like listeners, we like all the listeners we used to override, like we do have all the methods defined in those interfaces, right? So while implementing those interfaces like iRetry analyzer or iTest listener, anything, we used to override all the methods present in those interface. So we can say this is the example of overriding.
Okay, so what do you mean by static keyword in Java?
So static means class level, like it's not on instance level, it's on class level, and we can have static method, static variable, and static inner class. So if we declared any variable as an static variable, so we can access this variable or method using class name, like class name dot variable name or class name dot method name.
Okay, so do we need to create object of like static things, like whichever we have declared static?
So like we like it's on class level, so there is no need of creating any object and all those things to access these methods. But if we create object of class and try to access this static method using that object name, like object name dot static method name, then too it will work, but it will show some like bad practice of writing Java syntax kind of warning that is come from that ID, not from Java library. So it will work, but it is not a good practice. So we used to write class name dot that method name which is static. So this is the right manner to accessing those methods.
So can we override static methods?
No, we can't.
What about private and final?
Like all three, private, final, and static can't be overridden.
Okay. So tell me which locators you have used in Selenium, and which one you will prefer.
So like basically I have used ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, XPath, CSS selector, and all those things. But like personally I used to work with XPath and XPath ID and tag name.
Why?
Basically ID is the unique one and it's the fastest one, and XPath is like we get more operations with XPath, like we can traverse back, we can traverse to parent, we can traverse to child element and all those things. So I used to work with XPath only.
Okay. So what is the difference between find element and elements?
So basically both are used to find web elements on web page, but thing is like with driver.find element we only get the first occurrence of our locator, like if we have written any locator and on web page like it has matching 7 web elements, so in that case like it will return only first matching web element, not all. And in case of find elements, it will return list of all the web elements present on like our web page. And second thing is like if we don't find that matching locator on web browser, then it will throw no such element exception in terms of find element. But in case of find elements, it will give empty list.
Okay. Okay. So which kind of weight you have used in this, your project?
Basically I have worked with both implicit and explicit weight, because basically we used to define some implicit weight in our framework, and sometimes it is required to define some explicit weight for some operations, so we used to work with both.
So like which one you will prefer?
It's not like preference, like it's based on requirement. So basically we used to like by default we used to define some implicit weight in our framework, and if needed we used to like define some explicit weight as well.
So what is the exact difference between implicit and explicit weight?
So implicit weight is applicable to all the web elements, like for all the steps, and explicit weight is applicable only for the web element for which we want to provide that particular weight.
Okay. So tell me like which kind of exception you have faced in Selenium?
So basically the first exception which every QA has faced, every QA automation engineer has faced, is no such element exception. And apart from this, like sometimes we'll get null pointer exception as well. No such alert, no such frame, no such window, and stell element reference exception, and all those things.
Okay. So you have worked in TestNG also, I can, like you told in your introduction.
Yeah.
So can you tell me like what is the TestNG?
TestNG is advanced version of JUnit only, like it's used for unit testing itself. So TestNG provides lots of benefit to us, like we can create a suite and we can write all the required test case in one go only using that suite, and we can group our test cases. We can like set some priorities for each of the test cases. We can like we can run our test case in parallel mode. We can create some some good reports with TestNG. We can have like with TestNG like we'll get functionality of writing depends on method, depends on group. We can write run a single test case multiple times with same set of data or with different set of data. So these all are benefits of TestNG.
Okay, so tell me like how to run a single method multiple times in TestNG.
Using same data.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have like invocation count attribute in @test annotation. So we can write invocation count equals to 3 if we want to run that particular test case 3 times. And apart from this, like with invocation count, we can write thread pool size as well if we want to run those that particular test in multiple threads.
Okay. So what is a soft assert and hard assert?
Basically both are part of assertions only, like we are verifying something in that case. So hard assert is something like if our condition is not matching, if our actual and expected value is not matching, so it will like fail that test case and proceed with another test cases. But in case of soft assert, even though like our actual and expected values is not matching, then to like it won't fail that test case. It will proceed with next line itself. But if you want to throw that error, so we can write assert all at last line of that particular test.
Okay. So now we'll move to like manual part.
Sure.
So like what do you mean by smoke and sanity testing? Like what is the difference?
Basically smoke and sanity both are same thing, like they both are testing important functionality of application itself. But thing is like smoke testing we perform on initial build which is unstable. So in smoke testing we used to check whether this particular build is ready for testing or not. And sanity testing is something which we perform on stable build, where we used to check important functionality of software on stable build, like build number 2 or build number 3. So in that case, like we check whether all the functionality is working fine or not. And sanity testing is like subset of regression testing.
So in sanity test, we'll do end-to-end test.
We can do end-to-end testing in sanity test as well, or we can check some important functionality only itself. Like we can do both the things.
Okay. So what is the defect life cycle?
So in defect life cycle we do have multiple states. So first, like when any QA raise any bug, so that time it will be in new state, and after that it will be assigned to particular developer. So new assigned, after that developer will open that particular bug, so it will be open, and after that developer will fix it, so it will be fixed, and after that tester will verify, so retest, and after that if that bug is fixed, so it will go under verified, and if bug is still there, so it will QA will reopen that particular bug, so it will be in reopen. After that it will again assign to developer, and we do have and if everything goes right, so last state is close, and we do have some more state as well, like deferred, not a bug, and all those things which developer can say, like if that bug is repetitive, so he can say like if that bug is duplicate, so he can say it's an duplicate, or he can defer for next build.
Okay. So Abhishek, you worked in both SDLC and Agile.
Yeah, I have worked in both.
So like tell me like where you can use like SDLC and where you will use Agile in your project.
Like it's like we can say if my requirement is fixed and like there is no major changes, like if it's an banking application or something like which is not frequently changed, so in that case like we can go with waterfall model. And if our requirement is changing frequently and we are we are not sure on requirement, so in that case we can go with Agile. And in Agile like we'll get many benefits, like we have like closer contact with customer, our BA, product owner, and all those people. So if in case of any confusion or anything, we can directly contact and like get it corrected at same moment. So it will be like basically good to have Agile. And in Agile like it's not like we get a complete project at the end of our deadline. In case of Agile, like we used to get part of project in each sprint, and we can start our work.
Okay, so tell me Agile ceremonies you have attended.
So basically we do have 4 Agile ceremonies. First is sprint planning, sprint review, sprint retrospective, and daily scrum call. So daily scrum call is something like which we have for daily basis, like which daily we used to have 15 minutes of daily scrum call, in which we used to discuss what we have done so far, what we are planning to do today, and if there is any roadblocker for me. And sprint planning is the first one. In sprint planning we used to plan our sprint, like what all user story will be part of this sprint and all those things, how we will proceed with this sprint. Those planning is done in sprint planning. Sprint retrospective is something which we perform at end of our sprint. Like in this sprint retrospective, we used to check like what went wrong, what went right, and what is the correction part for our next sprint. So this we used to discuss in sprint retrospective. And sprint review is something like in which product owner and scrum master and our team used to give some demo to client, and they will review what things have been implemented and what is the issue for now, and what all is our plan for next sprint.
Okay. So Abhishek, which project lifecycle management tool you have used, Jira or ALM?
I have never worked with ALM. Like I used to work with Jira.
So like how you are able to create test cases and those things in
So
Jira?
like basically we have one plugin, Jira Zephyr plugin.
Mhm.
So after installing that plugin, we used to get different like all the functionality of writing test cases and all those things. So we used to work with Jira Zephyr plugin.
So okay Abhishek, I think I am done from my side. So you have any question for me?
Yeah, so no, I just wanted to know like what all tools you are getting used in this organization. Like if I'll get selected and I got some project, so like on which tools I used to get work. Like here I have used in TestNG, Cucumber, and Java, Selenium, and like somehow I have worked in Postman as well, not in REST assured, or like not in API automation, but manual API testing I have done with Postman. So just wanted to know like what all tools and technologies are getting used in organization. If I'll get selected, what things I'll get.
So actually we are working in both Cucumber, TestNG. So like if you are like it's based on client requirement, we need to go for Cucumber or either TestNG. So we are using ALM, Jira both. In some project we are using ALM, in some project we are using Jira. So based on the client requirement, you will be tagged in these skills only, either Cucumber, TestNG, and we are using Postman for API, and we are using REST assured also in automation. So that's it.
Okay, Bri, yes, I think I'm good with this.
Okay, have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.